Yes, hello. My name is George Krilla. I'm a senior at...
Insert school name here.
And, I just want to say that, I will not be coming to school today because I am deathly ill. Cough. No, I'm sincerely, sick right now. Oh, today's the day Destiny came out. Huh, coincidence. No, I'm not much of a gamer myself. I find that they're, very childish. Yes. No, my mom understands that, I will not be going to school today. No, she gave me permission to do this, that's right. Oh, you want to speak to her? Oh, yeah, I can get you to speak to her, you know, like, next week, I guess. Oh, you want to speak to her now? Oh, well, like,
15 minutes later.
Yeah, I have a stomach flu somewhere in my arteries, and it's very bipolar.
5 minutes later.
I try my best in school. You know what? F you, I'm playing Destiny. Jesus. People.
Developer Bungie, who have previously worked on Halo, are some of the greatest developers when it comes down to pure first-person action. When the original Halo Combat Evolved was released in 2001, the instruction manual had something about Bungie saying they would control the world and dominate the video game market. I don't know, it's been a while since I read that. But as of recently, Bungie gave the middle finger to Microsoft, saying they want to work on different consoles regardless if it was Halo or not. Now, instead of falling to a dark abyss full of buckets of vanilla ice cream, Kleenex, and TV drama, Bungie decided to take the next step into global domination. Their weapon of choice is density, or Destiny. Not only is this the most hyped game of 2014, as well as the best-selling game never to be part of a franchise before, but it is also the most expensive game ever made. You're spending $500 million on a single game? They must have some amount of confidence in this. So, question is Density a game worth your purchase? Short answer, yes it is. This game has actually brought me back to the online multiplayer section in video games. But it doesn't live up to the height it has reached. This is not an industry-changing video game that's going to change shooters forever. This is just a very solid first-person shooter. And before we get started, I just want to say that I swear to the almighty Allah, I will never call this game Density ever again, I swear. I swear, it's Destiny. It's all good. Let's get started.
We called it the Traveler, and its arrival changed us forever.
Destiny takes place over 700 years in the future, where beautiful mankind have finally discovered the power to travel across the solar system and land on the planets inside of it. Eventually, we end up making entire cities on some of these planets, creating new worlds for us to live on. Because of this, our population has tripled in size. But after this wonderful golden age, some sort of darkness consumed our solar system, invading our worlds and destroying mankind. There's only one city in the entire solar system that is controlled by humans, and we won't survive much longer. You are then revived from the dead somewhere on Earth by this little robot known as a ghost, which is played by Peter Dinklage, by the way. He helps you escape from these evil alien-looking thingies and takes you to the last remaining city on Earth. You are then tasked with the ghost to find this traveler who may have the key to save our world. Destiny has a fantastic setup and a great universe to explore. It has the potential of telling a well-crafted story inspired by a universe Bungie created. And being the game's biggest disappointment, it doesn't. It's not that the story's bad, it's just almost non-existent. The game gives you this goal of finding the traveler, and that's it. In between, you just find a bunch of cool aliens. The story is easily comparable to that of the original Borderlands. You get a goal, a good game, and then it ends. Like, that totally sucks! It could have been like the new Star Wars or something. But then again, I guess that title goes to Mass Effect. Graphically and artistically, this game is fucking gorgeous. It's easily one of the best looking games on consoles. This game is being reviewed on next-gen hardware, so I personally have no idea how this game turned out on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. But like I said, this game is beautiful. Usually when you play a good looking game from the first time, it looks fantastic, but you get used to how it looks and start to appreciate it less. This doesn't happen in Destiny because of its incredible location variety. The game takes place on a post-apocalyptic Earth, the Earth's moon, Venus, and Mars. It is unfortunate that these are the only explorable planets in the game, but the different types of places in each planet that the game explores are actually very impressive. There are like 4 different settings on each planet, and it's simply beautiful. The bright colors of the Earth, dark corridors of abandoned buildings, thick jungles of Venus, and the underground tunnels of the moon all look drastically different. There are so many graphical details in the game that can only be appreciated if you stop and smell the roses. If you're playing the game with co-op and your buddies are racing ahead ready to kill the next set of enemies, don't feel the need to keep up with them. Slow down and enjoy the environment around you. I mean, for Christ's sake, just look at the sky. This game has the best looking skies in any game ever. I know it sounds f***ed up, but just enjoy it.
Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows, only time.
The voice acting in Destiny, at best, is consistent. All the voice actors in the game feel like they belong together, but everyone is so bored when they speak. Most of the time what they say isn't even interesting. Peter Dinklage as your ghost companion is an interesting match. Most of the time all the voice work sounds like they're reading the script. And while that is what they're doing, it shouldn't feel like that. There's no heart or soul in the actor's voice, and it's very disappointing when you mix it in with the impressive visuals, character design, and the incredible score. The music was part composed by the old famous Paul McCartney, who created the main theme for Destiny. I personally think the game's theme song is just as well crafted as most other video game theme songs. After the success of Halo's music, it's nice to see that Destiny is still carrying their torch. One last thing I want to say about the presentation, I appreciate what they did with the loading times of the game. They only happen before a multiplayer match or choosing which mission on a planet you want to be a part of. The loading screens are presented as you traveling to another planet, similar to the Ratchet & Clank games, but it feels so nice. It doesn't feel like so much of a loading screen, it makes me feel like I'm actually on my way to my destination. You start the game by picking one of 3 classes that you want your character to be. Some favor guns, some favor magic, so pick the class that's best for you. Soon after you pick your race and customize your character's facial features. Unlike other MMOs, your character actually looks like a real person, besides other games where your character looks like some sort of plastic doll. But it's hard to put a name on Destiny, stating what kind of game it is. We could argue it's a hybrid of a first-person shooter and an RPG, or maybe it's an MMO, or a co-op game. It's a competitive multiplayer. You know what? F it, let's just call it a first-person shooter. For the majority of the game, you're following a path shooting bad guys. And fortunately enough, the action of the game is extraordinary. Guns feel like they have real power, you have control over your shooting as well as your movement. Like other MMOs, your enemy's health and level are shown as you are fighting them. You can carry 3 different types of guns. Every gun in each group all uses the same type of ammo. Your primary weapon could range from an automatic rifle, triple burst, and semi-automatic, while your secondary ranges between shotguns, sniper rifles, and these weird but oh so sexy charge-ups and release energy guns. I like to call them, I don't know, let's just call them energy guns. The rarest weapon type is heavy, which is a mixture between heavy machine guns as well as rocket launchers. You eventually get abilities to throw balls of energy that act like grenades, jump super high, and other crazy superpowers, depending on what class you picked at the very beginning. Enemy variety is surprisingly varied. Aliens with guns, melee guys, infected type creatures, purple orbs, and these giant motherfuckers. The actual combat, scenarios, and enemies all feels relatively similar to Halo, which is actually perfect. However, combat is always the same. There aren't any different types of missions like stealth or sniping missions. There are also way too many parts of the game where you end up at a certain location, your ghost will go hack something, and you have to fight off against almost never-ending waves of enemies. Not only are there too many instances where this happens, but these parts of the game can last up to 15 minutes and quickly overstay their welcome. But the actual shooting of the game is addictive enough that the game is still fun to play and rarely becomes a chore. Another big problem is when it comes to combat is enemies spawning. When you clear out an area of enemies, walk away because you got distracted by how pretty the floor is, the enemies are back! Like, seriously? I was gone for legitimately 15 seconds, and I only walked the same distance a baby does when he walks for the first time until he falls and cracks his head against the floor. Like, where do the enemies come from? So, my advice, if you guys want to walk away from a victorious battle, don't. Co-op works in a very interesting way. With story missions, you can play the game going in by yourself, or by inviting 3 to 6 friends depending on the mission. When you start the mission, the game may have other players already exploring the world in the game, or they can join the world as you play it. This PvP setup is an incredibly refreshing thing for the first-person shooter genre. You don't necessarily work to a common goal together, or have to rely on each other to succeed. You are both just playing on the same world, doing your own thing. All the players may have different missions in the same world, so it is possible you can team up temporarily, and then go on your separate ways sometime later on. It helps make the game feel like you're part of a breathing world, where you're not the only one chosen to explore these planets. There are other people in this universe working to the same goal as you are, so it's very refreshing being a part of such a great experience. Now let's talk about numbers! Yay! Numbers! Like any RPG in the history of video games, killing enemies, completing challenges, and missions reward you with XP points. Certain amounts of XP help you level up. By leveling up, you gain the ability to fight in new missions, equip certain pieces of gear, and advance the story. The level cap, however, is actually pretty f***ing small. It's 20. By the time you reach the maximum level, you still have motivation to continue playing, like soon-to-be promised weekly add-ons, updates, as well as using light or something of the sort to upgrade your gear and guns. Although I can imagine pretty soon that Bungie's going to update the game with an increased level cap. Changing your class is pretty easy actually, and not nearly as complicated as any other loot game. Each gun and piece of armor has one number. Simply put, if one number is bigger than the other, take that equipment with a bigger number and disassemble the other one. It's an incredibly simple system and puts more focus on the rest of the game. You can also upgrade certain guns and armor the more you use them, adding certain attachments and abilities. Finding new pieces of equipment in the game and using it accordingly actually changes the way you look and feels very personal. The main social place in the game is actually what I explained before, being the last city on Earth. You walk around with other players buying guns, armor, accepting contracts, and earn emblems, socialize with other players, or just dance your ass off. Honestly, the inclusion of dance is actually very useful when capturing objectives, or after you clear out a room full of enemies. It's very inconvenient, to be honest.
Barrier is down. We can move now.
The last thing you can do in the game is your standard competitive multiplayer. A mixture between domination-like mode, team deathmatch, and free-for-all are some of the modes you can find. You play the game with the exact same gear and character upgrades you have for the rest of the game. For the most part, the game does a good job balancing out characters that are at higher levels compared to other players. As solely a competitive multiplayer experience, there are other games that are more dedicated to the multiplayer space than Destiny does. But regardless of other games, Destiny's multiplayer mode is very much enjoyable, and I'll probably play it just as much as the other game modes in Destiny. Special mention goes out to the map design. Not only is it visually beautiful, but also the placement of corridors, hot points, and certain bases is actually much better than other multiplayer focused games. Besides the actual shooting in the game, nothing in Destiny is super astounding or innovative. But the best thing about this game, which some people overlook because of its shortcomings, disappointments, or the inability to reach the hype it's consumed, the best thing about Destiny is all about how it comes together. Each part of the game complements other parts so well, I like to say it's the most polished game I've ever played since Portal 2 came out in 2011. Stellar gameplay, beautiful worlds, interesting online modes, and polished presentation is what Destiny has going for it. Its lack of story, repetitive mission design, and inability to meet expectations, however, hold this game back from being the best game of 2014. The way in which everything comes together, though, is simply stunning. People made diss on Destiny for not being the genre-defining game everyone thought it was going to be, but it doesn't matter. Honestly, buy Destiny. Whether you have friends to play with it or not, just enjoy the experience. If you try not to be a picky asshole while playing the game, then you're going to enjoy Destiny. Now, I know I can say that about every other game, but when a game is this good is looked down upon for its shortcomings, it's best to go into this game trying to have some fun instead of tearing it apart. And considering the amount of free and paid content coming out on a constant basis, Destiny may be your most played game of 2014. Destiny receives an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching the newest review by the Bathroom Gamers. We all have different opinions, so let us know what you think of Destiny in the comments below. Also, if you have any suggestions for future reviews or top 10 lists, be sure to include that in the comments as well. If you like what you see, show us by giving this video a like. If you want to see more, remember to subscribe to our page, we'll keep you posted. Remember, your encouragement causes us to create more videos. And for the best way to see what's going on behind the scenes, as well as what's upcoming, a link for our Facebook page is in the description below. Give it a like and help yourself stay updated. Thank you for watching, and stay fresh, everybody.